Hey guys, on today's episode, we have 3 furniture flips for you. These are going to be some serious trash to treasure flips. We're going to be flipping this desk right here, and I do it in a beautiful Cinderella blue with some absolutely amazing hardware. Wait until you see that. The next piece we're going to do is this really cute table that I got for like $6 at an estate sale auction, and we made this thing have some seriously cute cottagey vibes. I can't wait for you to see that one either. But then the last one is my favorite one, and it's going to be completely transforming this dining hutch or china hutch or whatever, china cabinet, whatever you want to call it, into this gorgeous kind of Harry Potter style rustic look with black. I think you're really going to love it. So stay tuned and see how we do it. So the first piece we're working on is this desk. The bones were good. It was just extremely dirty and gross and really just needed some extra love. Get this thing off of me. Yeah, all the drawers slide really good. It's like a weird illusion because they're like that.
Yeah, they're in a neat way.
Yeah, it's cool though. This really needs to be cleaned. Really gross. The back looks to be in better shape than the front. This piece really needed a good scrub down, so I made some all-purpose cleaner out of vinegar, water, and some Dawn dish soap. I don't have like exact ratios. I just do about half vinegar, half water, and then some squirts of Dawn dish soap in there and shake it up and use it in a spray bottle. It does a really good job of getting off all the yucky stuff, as you can see, with just one pass. But this works super well, and then you can go back over it with just a wet rag to get the soap residue off if there is any. Sometimes I use a little bit too much soap in my mixture, and so that's what I would have to do in that case. But there was one knob that was missing the handle on it. It was broken, and so later on you'll see how I'm not going to get to keep all of the hardware on here, and I have a way of, like a hack I guess, of keeping most of the hardware and only changing out 2 of them. So let's get cleaning, and then we'll start prepping this piece for paint afterwards. I found a little pair of scissors in there. I am always amazed and amused at all the weird things that I find inside dressers and underneath drawers, or especially in sewing cabinets. You can find all sorts of stuff in there. But now this beauty is ready to be sanded. The top especially had tons of really deep gouges and scratches in the finish, so I had to sand the top really well in order for my paint to have a nice smooth finish on the top. When you're doing a dresser or a piece of furniture that's going to have a large top like a buffet, you want to make sure that that large top is nice and smooth, because that's what people are going to see most when they look at that piece of furniture, is that top. You're going to set things on it every day. You're going to be wiping it down every day or whenever you clean it. So you really need to focus most of your attention on the top of the piece of furniture that you are fixing up. And I do still distress my furniture and things like that, but you can't really distress your way out of having all that terrible scratches and all that stuff that was on here. So be sure to smooth out your surface before you paint it if it has a lot of deep gouges. But now I'm going to take some wood filler and fill in the holes here on the middle drawer. Remember, I was talking about how I had a little bit of a hack for when you're trying to use the original hardware, but it may be missing 1 or 2 of them. So I'm going to fill in the holes from the original hardware on that center drawer, and then I'm going to go over the entire thing with spray shellac, so that way I can trap in the stain. Anytime you're dealing with mahogany furniture, you have no choice. You have to seal it with shellac or it will bleed through. I promise you that will happen. I have made that mistake more than once. when I first started out, and I never make that mistake anymore ever again. And it's funny because you will be painting and thinking, oh no, everything's fine. There's no bleed through. I don't need to worry about it. But then the bleed through comes in when you put the clear coat on. So you did all the work and then later the bleed through came in. But I'm going to be painting this in the color called Peaceful Blue. I'm painting it in an enamel spray paint. And I start out with a really light coat because sometimes with the enamel spray paint, if you don't shake it up a whole bunch for a really long time, it comes out really blotchy at first. So I'm just doing a really light coat on the top here until the sprayer starts spraying it a little thicker on. And the reason why you don't want to spray it too thick on when you first start spraying out of the can is because it may drip. So a lot of that clear, like the clear coat part of the paint comes out first if it's not shooken up super well, and apparently this one wasn't shooken up so well. But now I'm just going over the entire thing. It took me about 2.5 coats to get good coverage on here, and then once that was done, I needed to fill in any little gouges that I could see that I didn't get before with some wood filler, and then sand it again and give it more coats of paint after that. So it's all done being painted. I had to do some extra coats off camera. I just didn't have time to record it all. But it's got full coverage now. I went yard sailing and got some stuff today, so don't worry about that. I'll show you that another time. But it looks pretty good. It's not perfect. Like, I didn't do all the perfect wood filling and sanding and stuff, so it has some blemishes. So I'm going to distress it, because all of this is part of the story of this piece, and I think distressing it just a little bit to show its age is appropriate for pieces like this. And that way, when somebody takes this home, they don't have to worry about, oh shoot, I dinged it up with my chair when I scooted the chair in, now it's ruined. It'll be like, oh, it's just more character. It'll all suit the style of the piece. It will look a little more cottagey, and I think it would be great for this piece. For the hardware, all I did was clean them and put some rub and buff on them to really shine them up, and they look stunningly gorgeous. I'm pretty sure that the pattern on there is like a wheat plant. Wheat, like a field of wheat. I have seen the wheat motif on tons of furniture here, especially antiques, and I think maybe it's because we are near like the Great Plains states here in Texas, who knows. But we picked out some handles for that center drawer, and my husband picked these out. They were $5 a piece because I always get them half off. This is the one that I picked out to try, but I think it's actually going to be too small. But they were $2.50 a piece, and all we had to do was pre-drill a hole and attach these on there, and they look so good. Here is the beautiful Cinderella blue desk. decorated and staged nicely in my booth, and I love how it turned out. I would have kept it had I had a place for it. This light blue is really nice, and let you in on a secret. My husband actually overheard some women in my booth talking about this when they were walking by my booth one day, and they were saying, "Oh my gosh, that blue was so amazing. I never thought to use this blue before. I'm going to start using it." So if you're in the market for flipping furniture, try this blue. The next piece of furniture I'm going to be flipping is this table. Now, I don't have a before video of it for some reason. I don't know where the video went, but it's really not that hard to imagine. You'll see exactly how it looked before. So before, it had the original wood color on the legs, and I am going over it in a beautiful green color. I wanted to go for like an English cottage look. Very distressed on this table. I think it would be a really cute kitchen island. And I only spent $6 plus tax on this, and I think it was a steal of a deal. It's going up in my booth just like the other piece of furniture, but this is a really cool piece that I wanted to show you because you could totally use this in your kitchen as a kitchen island or a little breakfast table, or you can have it in your entryway. These little tables can do lots of different things. You can put your microwave on there. You could do lots of things with it, but it needed the top to be refinished. It may look like stained wood to you right now, but it's not. So somebody painted over the wood with yellow and then did some kind of oil-based polyurethane and like stain wash over it with like a sponge. It was like a sponge paint print to look a little bit like wood, and I think that's creative, but I don't know why they didn't just use the original wood. The original wood to me underneath the paint looks like it's either cedar or maybe like an alder wood or something. Let me know what you think, which type of wood this is. It didn't necessarily smell like cedar to me, but maybe it doesn't smell that way because it's older cedar. Although I feel like when you sand it, the smell should come back out. So I'm not sure which type of wood this is. Let me know what type of wood you think this is in the comments section. But it did have some stains in it, little small stains in there that I didn't think were a big deal. And I wanted this to look like it was a kitchen island in somebody's cottage 200 years ago. So I am not at all worried about those stains, and if anything, it makes it look even cooler. But I'm going to sand this edge in here. There's like a little bit of a crack there's like a detailed trim along the edge here, and it has a crack, and so I wanted to get in there and get all the paint out of that crack that was in there so that it looks really nice and uniform when I clear coat it.
I see it in your eyes. Yeah, I can read the signs. You need to get away. It's time we make a change. Oh, you know you'll always have me. Baby, I will always stay with you. So put your trust in me. We'll work it out, you'll see. If we get in a car and drive someplace far, yeah, we could go for a ride. The two of us, we don't have to stop. Baby, let's go for a ride. You and I, let us run away. We can go where we want. I'll have your back if you'll have mine. You and I wanna leave everything behind. If you wanted to, promise you we will be alright. If it's you and I.
Once all that outside work was done, I brought it back inside to put the clear coat on. I am trying Big Top for the first time, and I have not tried it before. And one thing that I learned while I was using it is that you can't just shake it, you have to stir it. So I thought, since I am always in a rush and like trying to speed my way through everything, that I could just shake it really good and then use it. But no, that's not the case. So I did have to actually go and get a popsicle stick and stir the heck out of this clear coat because I don't know exactly what it's made of. It's zero VOC, so it's not your normal clear coat. But I need zero VOC because I have asthma and I just can't handle the smells anymore. But you do have to stir it because whatever it is made out of, it settles down to the bottom and it doesn't like reintegrate itself by just shaking it. So you have to stir it. And I wanted to make sure I told you that because I did the first coat without having done that. And then I realized that there was like all this thickness at the bottom. So I had to go back and redo the clear coat a second time on the whole body of the piece where it was like actually mixed in well, and it was a completely different consistency. Like I was, because the whole time I was like, why is this so watery? But it wasn't. It was just that I didn't mix it very well, and it actually dried like totally invisible. So when you see as I'm putting the clear coat on, it darkens the wood quite a bit. Well, when it dries, it goes back to looking like raw wood, like bare raw wood with no clear coat on it. And something else that I did was I painted this little riser that I had in my shop that wasn't selling. And so I painted it to match this table, and now that riser has sold. The table hasn't sold yet though. But that green riser that I have on top of the table did sell already. But look at how good this looks. It's like the perfect distress on here. I think this is so English cottagey, perfect cottage decor, and I would have loved to keep this piece. But we're in a business to buy some groceries over here and support my family, so I can't keep everything. But whoever buys this, I hope they love it just as much as I do.
Give me love, give me all your love, oh, 'cause I want you. No one else makes me feel this way, don't know what you do. Hold my hand, could you hold my hand?
The last piece that we are working on today is this china cabinet. I am obsessed with flipping china cabinets. I know that hutches are like every furniture flipper's worst nightmare, that it's so much work and they hate doing them, but for some reason I just love them, and they sell so well, and they sell for more of a profit too, so your time is like worth it in the end, I think. But what I love to do, myself and my husband love to do, is to take the glass doors completely off. That's become our signature thing, and I have people tell me all the time how they have been looking for a hutch just like this because they don't want hutches with those glass doors on them anymore. So if you are a furniture flipper, that is a huge secret that you need to know about. People don't want the glass doors anymore. They want it to be open shelving. So what we do, and what my husband is so good at doing, is taking this multi-tool and using that flat blade to just cut them right out. It's actually quite easy, and if you don't have a multi-tool like this yet, you need one. Even if you're not a furniture flipper, we've used this multi-tool like once a week for years now. Just on random things that come up, we end up like, if you ever need to cut something flat, or like if you have something that gets stuck and you can't like undo it, like say you had a screw that you can't get out, you can just cut it off, or a nail or whatever, like you can just cut it off. It cuts through metal and wood, and I'm not sponsored by them or anything. Like I don't care what brand you buy of this, but I have some linked in my Amazon store for you if you want to try them. We originally had the Dremel brand one, and that crapped out on us recently, and we had it for many years though, so I loved the Dremel brand. They did a great job making that piece, but it just got old and worn out, and one day it just decided to not turn on anymore. So then we went and got the Milwaukee one because we have our other tools in Milwaukee, and I wanted it to be cordless, and since we already have all those Milwaukee batteries, I thought that would make the most sense and save us the most money because we wouldn't have to buy a battery for it then because we already have them. But now we're going to just sand everything down to prep this piece for paint. I'm not painting it with enamel paints, surprisingly. I know I almost always paint my hutches with enamel paints, but I'm going to hand paint it. So I asked my husband if he could please sand the whole thing down with a 150 grit. And something I have learned through experience is not to sand anything that you plan to paint with a 220 grit. Oh, and right here I just want to show you it's missing one of those little decor pieces on here, these little trims, and so he's taking those nails off where that piece of trim was, and later on we'll remove the rest of that trim. But what I was trying to tell you is you can't use 220 grit on something that you plan to paint because the paint doesn't stick well to something that's been sanded with 220. You got to do like 150 or 180 and the paint will stick on there so well it'll be hard to sand it back off. And now I'm just fixing up the bottom of this hutch. It had a lot of peeling veneer pieces, and so I just removed all the veneer off of the legs that was peeling, and then I sanded it down so that I could paint it and be nice and smooth.
You and me, yeah, that's all I need, and I'll be alright. I'll be right here. I swear that I'll stay here with you. Hold me closer. I wanna stay here with you. All that we have is each other now. I promise I won't leave your side. Be who you are and you'll be enough. If you're giving me your love, giving me your love. All that we have is each other now. Promise you won't leave my side. I hope who I am is enough for you. If I'm giving you my love, giving you my love, love.
Once the legs were all repaired nice and smooth, I went in there with my drill attachment brush to get out any little grossness that was in any nooks or crannies on here. And then I'm also going to clean the piece with Lysol. So I disinfect everything that I do, that I flip, that I sell. I disinfect it all because you just never know and nobody wants to be passing on any kind of germs. But I disinfected everything, and then we're going to start paint after that.
Tell me what you want.
The color that I chose for this hutch is called Anchor. It's by Dixie Belle. It's part of their silk line, and the silk line has clear coat in it already. I spent $30 on it, and that's not bad because this container is going to paint the entire hutch. And I'm using just a chip brush to paint it on because I want a really rustic and distressed look on this piece. So I personally love to get the most beat up pieces of furniture. One, because they are the cheapest, and two, because I think it's fun to like have that whole ugly duckling and beautiful swan experience. You guys know I've been doing ugly duckling challenges for years now, but I just love this whole idea of taking this ugliest thing ever and making it beautiful again. But a lot of times it's not financially smart to restore things back to how they were, like to make it look brand new again. And plus, I don't particularly want them to look brand new. I want you to know that this piece has a story. So I like to do rustic looks, and that's why I'm using a chip brush to paint today, because I want it to look hand painted. And we decided to remove all the trims off because the other two side panels were flat, and we thought that that would be the quickest, easiest, and also the prettiest way to fix up that broken one. It had one trim piece completely missing. But let's get this handle off of this door so that I can sand these doors down now that that trim is not on there anymore.
Everything's alright. I'll be right here. I swear that I'll stay here with you. Hold me closer. I wanna stay here with you. All that
You may have noticed that I am not painting in a super perfect way. So, like I said, I want this to look like it's hand painted. But there is one thing that I do make it look perfect with is that when I'm done painting a section, I go back over it like this, where I do long strokes, because you want it to look hand painted, but you don't want to look like you have 5 million brush strokes on this piece. So you want your brush strokes to be obvious, but you want them to be done well. So you're going to make sure that they are long, consistent brush strokes across all of the flat surfaces. That is the trick to hand painting something without it looking like a hot mess. Because I have bought and flipped tons of furniture that people have hand painted and they didn't do this trick. And that's why it looked so terrible and why they ended up having to get rid of it, because they didn't do that last part where you go back over that wet paint and do long straight strokes so that it looks professionally done. It still has that cottagey look. It just looks like you did it with like a little more skill. Like it's just meant to look that way. Does that make sense to you?
Say something like you love me and make my day like you always do.
Another trick I would love to share with you today is when you sand insides of drawers, you can make them look nice and smooth and clean and everything, but it also vibrates anything out from all the cracks and crevices that are in the drawer. For instance, I constantly find pins and tacks and needles in drawers of furniture that you would have never known was there because it was so deep in the cracks, and just by cleaning the drawer you couldn't get to it. So that's another benefit of sanding the insides of the drawers, is just the vibration actually gets all the dirt and grossness out of the cracks and crevices. Pretty gross, but also super smart and easy to do. I took the handles off and cleaned them really well and disinfected them, and I'm going to do something with those later to freshen them up just a little bit. But remember, we have to disinfect all the parts of this piece. So I swear I need to like buy stock and Lysol wipes or something, because I go through them like crazy. But they do work really well. It seems silly, but they work extremely well, and it's a quick and easy way to disinfect and clean stuff. It does a really good job of cleaning. Like, it is on par with using Dawn dish soap even with cleaning and getting grease off. They work super well. I knew right away when my husband sanded the front of this drawer and that burl wood detail came out that I couldn't cover it up. I didn't know exactly what I was going to do, but once it came time to actually do the drawer and paint it, I was like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to paint the two sides, and I'm going to leave that centerpiece all distressed and awesome looking, and it's going to really set off and show off that burl wood inlay that it has in the middle. And man, it looks even better than I thought it was going to look. And at this point when I was looking at it, it's this flat black, like super amazing rustic looking hutch. I thought to myself, wow, this is something that you would see in Diagon Alley in Harry Potter. If you've ever watched Harry Potter or been to the Harry Potter world at Universal, the stuff they have there looks identical to how this hutch is turning out. And so when I sold it, I titled it Harry Potter-esque hutch. And it sold immediately, not even because it looked like Harry Potter though. She just really was looking for a rustic black hutch, which is hard for people to find. Another hint, that's what people want. But I went over the hardware very lightly with some gold rub and buff. I wanted that rustic coppery look to still show through. I wanted to look aged, and I felt like it still had that really cool Harry Potter look to it, like straight out of Diagon Alley. I feel like the Death Eaters would have this in their homes. I'm such a nerd. But this looked gorgeous. And it doesn't have to be Harry Pottery. Like I'm just a nerd like that. But this would look gorgeous in a farmhouse type of house, in a traditional decorated house, or in a modern home. It would look good in it's so many different styles of home decor. But what I always do, just like I did with my other pieces today, is distress it just a little bit. So just like the blue desk that I did today, I'm going to distress along all the edges. This is going to make the edges stand out. It doesn't look necessarily farmhouse either. It just looks old. And that's what you want from your antiques. You want your antiques to look old. That's why you like them, because they're cool. They have a story. They're old. And so we want it to look its age, however old we want this thing to look. So I actually am trying to make this look much older than it is, because it's probably made in the 1950s, and I'm trying to make it look like it was from the 1850s. So I like this distressed look that it has. Now that I've hit up all the edges, it really makes the details stand out. But here it is in my booth, decorated with my Christmas items, and it's already sold. It sold the day after I put it in there. Not the same day, but the day after I put it in there. And I understand why, because it's awesome. This hutch is so awesome. I can't wait to do another black hutch. Black hutches sell insanely fast for me, and I want to know, for you watching, would you be looking to buy a black hutch? Like, was that something you don't see very often and you want to have one for your house, or you never thought about it? Or do you prefer another color for your hutches? So I have 2 more hutches to do, and I want you guys to let me know, what color would you want on a hutch that you would like just go be over the moon excited to find that color hutch. Let me know in the comment section down below, and the most popular color that you guys choose in the comment section, or say in the comment section, is the color I will choose for the next hutch. So it could be any color. Let me know what you want to see on the next hutch. Thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, don't forget to hit subscribe down below, and I'll see you next time. Bye.